Do you know, there are some fabulous, gorgeous towns and villages in the Scottish borders, but this one is amongst the best. Welcome to Peebles, with its fantastic high street, historic buildings and gorgeous riverside walks. I do hope you'll join me for a walk round Peebles in the Scottish borders. Well, it's a freezing cold but absolutely glorious day down here in the Scottish borders today. Now, Peebles stands on the banks of the River Tweed, the same River Tweed that flows out into the sea at Berwick-upon-Tweed. And as you can see, it's worth coming here just to have a walk along the banks of the River Tweed. Absolutely gorgeous snowdrops. And there are a few places you can sit for a picnic, and a few bridges like this one, the Fotheringham Bridge, letting you cross over the river. But we're going to veer away from the riverside for a moment because there's something down here that I've wanted to see for years. So we've climbed up a bit. And this section that we're walking along now used to be a track bed for the railway that served Peebles way back in the days before Dr. Beeching abolished the railways here. Yeah, it's an abandoned railway tunnel, which you can actually walk through. It is pitch black in there. It's called Neidpath Tunnel, and it is about half a mile long. However, there's a bend halfway along, so it's pitch black halfway through. So you really need heavy-duty torch equipment and really good walking shoes to go all the way through. So I think we might leave it till the summer, come back and walk the tunnel when the conditions are a little bit better underfoot. It's a fabulous little bit of history to see, though. There are actually a few other remnants of the railway from before Dr. Beeching axed the route to Peebles, and we'll see one of the buildings that still remains in the town centre just a little bit later on. We're going to head back along the riverside walk towards the Tweed Bridge, and that'll take us into town. And we're back at the bridge. I love those street lamps edging the side of the bridge. Yeah, that's some sort of aquatic motif, isn't it? Fish. That is splendid. Now, this is really a very, very pretty bridge, isn't it? Now that's interesting. The Tweed Bridge was built or reconstructed in the 15th century and replaced an older erection. In 1834 it was widened on both sides, and in 1900 the town council doubled the width by extending the east side. And there are some fabulous views down the rest of the Tweed. Can you see on the top of that hill right over there, a touch of snow? It still has been very cold here in Scotland this year. Yeah, there's an older sign here. This is actually part of the bridge itself, widened by subscription. And I think that must be Well, it's one of the years I said before. Another of those fabulous silvery lamps. And then ahead of us, I think that is Peebles Parish Church. And I do love the crown on the top of the steeple. That reminds me of the Wallace Monument in Stirling. That is magnificent, isn't it? And the aptly named Bridge Inn is nestled just below the church. Genius location for a pub, eh? Anybody fancy a pint of Tennent's in there? There's the parish church with some more amazing lamps. That was well timed, wasn't it? And ahead of us, there's the high street. Isn't that gorgeous? And just ahead you can see the trees on the hills beyond. Before we hit the high street, one thing to look at is there is actually another river here in Peebles, in addition to the River Tweed. It's a tributary. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Mallard. Next to the parish church is the courthouse bar and restaurant. So I take it that is an old courthouse building. Prince of India, if you prefer Indian food. Golden pillar box. And this is the Tontine Hotel. 1808. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? And they have a menu outside. Let's have a look. Battered or breaded haddock, small £12, large £19.50. Steak and ale pie, £18.50. Monterey Jack topped beef burger, £16.50. Across the road there's another hotel, the Crown Hotel. Now that looks more like a traditional little pub hotel, doesn't it? Gosh, here's another one, the County Inn. We've got 3 pubs within a stone's throw of each other, and this one serves Belhaven beer. This looks like the sort of place you could do a nice little pub crawl, doesn't it? I have to say, this is a gorgeous high street. There are so many shops and bars and restaurants and cafes, including Sully's, fish and chips, pizzeria, burgers, kebabs. And that's a rather grand building over there on the other side of the road. Oh, look at the turrets up there. This is magnificent. It's the Chambers Institute. Parts of this building date from the 15th century when it was the Dean's House of the Cross Kirk in 1859. I love this courtyard. Wow. This is absolutely splendid. To the enduring memory of the men of Peeblesshire who fell in the Great War. That is an absolutely amazing memorial. Let's just have a moment of quiet contemplation. My goodness, there's so much history in this little courtyard. All these buildings and the plaques and the dates. Back out onto the high street, greengrocers. Even the Costa Coffees are in fabulous buildings here in Peebles. Is that a Mercat Cross? Well, as I said, the railway to Peebles was closed down by beaching back in the 1960s. So if you want to come to Peebles, you're going to have to come in your car, or you can get the bus from Edinburgh. And you're looking for the X62. And I think that X62 is on its way to Galashiels now. Is that another church? Well, it may once have been a church, but now it's the Eastgate Theatre. That's the High Street done. Now let's just walk back down to the banks of the River Tweed. Because as we were crossing the Tweed Bridge earlier, I spotted what I think is another footbridge, and it looks like a suspension footbridge just down here. Yeah, have a look at this. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, this is the Priorsford Bridge, and it was erected over the River Tweed in 1905. And it is indeed a suspension bridge. Oh, this is absolutely gorgeous. What do you think of that bridge? It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Well, as you would expect, Peebles is a very popular holiday destination. There's so much to do here. All the bars, restaurants, cafes, pubs. There's lots of walking trails around here, lots of castles you can go and see. And of course, you've got other borders towns within easy reach like Galashiels. So there are a lot of hotels here, one of which is really quite posh, and it's called the Peebles Hydro, and it dates back to the early 1900s when people used to come here for hydrotherapy because of the gorgeous, clear, crystal water that was available from the River Tweed. So we're going to head up to Peebles Hydro Hotel and have a look. Now, I'm not booked in to stay there tonight. It's actually very expensive, but we might be able to grab a coffee in the bar. Peebles Hydro is just a short walk away from the town centre, although I do think it might be quite a steep climb up this road to get to the hotel. Now, I must admit, I wasn't expecting to see alpacas as we walk up towards the hotel. Come to think of it, I'm sure I read on the website that you could have alpaca tours here. Here we are, Peebles Hydro Hotel. That was quite a steep climb up that hillside. This is a grand old place, isn't it? It's not often I get shining vibes from outside a hotel, but I'm definitely getting spooky vibes from this one. It does look like some of those American films you see in horror movies, doesn't it? I believe it is really nice inside. And the views into the Scottish borders are spectacular. Look at that. Imagine having one of the rooms up there looking out over that view. I did check the room rates here tonight because I thought it would be a great place to stay and do a hotel review as well, but I only decided to come to Peebles today, and the rooms, the cheapest rooms, are 200 and odd quid, so I think we might leave it for another day. But should we go inside and see if we can get ourselves a coffee? Oh, it's quite grand, isn't it? I'm getting railway hotel vibes from this. Well, it's actually quite a nice conservatory here, overlooking those fabulous views of the Scottish borders. And a cup of Brodie's coffee. I really do like Brodie's coffee. Cheers, here's to you. Oh, that's good. Great cup of coffee and a fabulous view from the windows of the conservatory. I think we'll definitely come back to Peebles Hydro at a later date. Historically, as I said, people had hydration treatments here, so they have a huge 20-metre swimming pool, and I'd love to stay the night here and partake a little bit more of their hospitality. But the last thing we're going to do today is something I promised you earlier on, that old station building just down here. Even though the days are getting longer here in Scotland, we're still losing the sun by about 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's why we have to pack everything into these videos before it goes dark. Well, we're back near where I parked the car, and this is what I referred to earlier. This is the last remaining building from the original train station here in Peebles. Don't know whether it was a waiting room or part of a signal box. Pretty sure that the shopping trolley isn't part of the deal. You can tell it used to belong to a station though, can't you? Yep, once upon a time this was a bustling station with trains all through the Scottish borders up to Edinburgh and down to Carlisle and beyond. Well, do let me know down in the comments below. What did you think of Peebles down here in the Scottish borders? A gorgeous day and an absolutely gorgeous town to explore. Definitely going to have to come back in the summer and have a wander through that abandoned railway tunnel. What did you think of Peebles Hydro Hotel? Maybe we should try and get an advance booking there, a cheaper rate, and come back and stay. Fabulous views from the hotel, and I really want to try that huge swimming pool that they've got in there, dating back to all those hydrotherapy treatments from the turn of the century. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some more videos about the Scottish borders, I'm putting one on the screen now about Melrose, which is an equally gorgeous Scottish borders town. I'll see you on the next one for some more travel adventures and a little drop of history.